Hello everyone and welcome to episode 50 of Baldur's Gate 3. As you can see, we are right here at the summit and we're going into the end game now. And normally we open with a centering on our character, but I just wanted to be very, very careful that nobody accidentally clicked on this video and wound up with any spoilers. So I'm just going to give you guys a second to make sure that you really want to be jumping into episode 50 of Baldur's Gate 3. And here we are. So our next thing is that we fought our way up the tower, and I think we're ready to click on this brainstem. We've done all of our self-care, including gotten healed up by these restoration tentacles down here. And with that, I think we're ready to go forward. Are you ready to face the Netherbrain? As ready as we're gonna be.
Brain, it's high above the city now, far away from any innocence. End this now. Stop the Absolute and spare the city. The stage is set for my final act. Mystra's bidding and the redemption that lies beyond. You brought me right where I need to be. I have no right to ask more of you. It's time I spirited you to safety. For this is a fate I must face alone.
Okay, but there's a problem. Have you seen me recently? Like, I didn't do this for nothing. We can bring the crown to Mystra, but I think that's what we're gonna do. Gesture to the fact that you're now a mind flayer. Gale's self-sacrifice is not necessary. That's exactly what we're gonna do. To die alone, this isn't necessary. Yeah, no, look, man, this was a great idea up until this.
Still, you will be taking unnecessary risks by proceeding. This could all be over in mere moments if I ascend alone. It's now or never.
Should it look like we'll fail, that's your moment. That's exactly right. I was just thinking, why don't we make your idea plan B? We can ascend together and put an end to this. Should it look like we'll fail, that's your moment.
You'd be dying in vain. I don't need company to sacrifice myself. Please. For too long, I've lived in fear of taking a host of innocents with me when I expired. Now at least I can be assured my demise will be saving them instead.
You guys, this sucks so hard because he is directly telling me what he wants. And then why did I do this, man? Like, if he wants to, oh my god. Here's our options. We're going to end this together and live to tell the tale. I won't stand in your way, then farewell, Gale. I don't know how Alyssa continues with her life, having sacrificed her form, her identity, her genes to be like this, just so that at the last minute she could say, okay, no, go right ahead. She doesn't want to be like this. She never wanted to be like this. This is the way that she wound up because it felt like there was no other option. He doesn't get to now just go ahead by himself. He just doesn't. We're going to end this together.
If you're mistaken, this could be the end of everything. We'll be failing right at the last hurdle. But I only made it this far thanks to you. No mind to question such sterling guidance now. Mystra won't be pleased. But perhaps trying to please the gods is a fool's errand. Lead on then. She'll stay my hand as long as I can. But if the tide of battle turns against us, remember I have the means to bring a swift end to this.
act of domination.
Looks like that crown could use some nether stones. If these things were ever going to work, it's now. My gods! I didn't think they were real. Not really.
I know you. I know everything about you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your weaknesses. And so do they.
That's the crown. Time to cast a spell again. This time it has to work.
The non-Lloyd is on its way. It will appear soon. 4 turns remaining. There's so much happening. I will read the journal, I promise. So, if I can do this... Oh, okay. So, I feel like I need to get there. Can I look up the rules for... Not currently. Where is Alyssa on this list? Here we are.
If this is worth the cost.
So, Karsus' compulsion. Channel the stone's magic to control the crown of Karsus and dominate the Netherbrain. Must channel this spell until their next turn for it to take effect. So, presumably we can't... End of caster is incapacitated, stunned, polymorphed, or knocked out. I don't know how many of these guys can polymorph, so maybe we want to... No, there's too many dudes. If we try to go right for it, it's not going to work. All right, Corvus. Astral gravity, so he can fly around, and that's fine. Volatile shield. Temporary hit points by an Illithid. If these are removed by incoming damage, the shield bursts, possibly stunning nearby foes. Well, that's fine, as long as we're not nearby. He's only got 10 of those. So maybe we bad omen him. I don't know what your problem is, Corvus. That seems like a fine option. I think we just come down here. And then bad omen him. Oh, we took 9 of his 10 hit points. And then this happened. Okay, well, we'll worry about that later, I guess. I think we definitely Frenzy, and I think we definitely Soul Coin. How do we feel about Dominated Dragon? What's your deal? Psychically Dominated is fine. Completely immune to fire. Although, we have Arsonist Oil, so I think that we can strip that off. I'd have to double check. All incoming damage is reduced by 2, magic resistance, and he does get an opportunity attack. Well, then let's give him something to attack with opportunity. Karlach? Okay, we can't jump in there, but we can charge in there. Yeah, I mean, she's gonna go hit the biggest dude, right? Unless we can't. Okay. And then, can we do a cleave? Reckless attack. Critical hit on Emperor. I don't actually want to kill him. If we can, like, settle this without putting him down, I would be happy to do that. The trouble is, he's really pissed off at us, and I can't really blame him. Let's do a... Well, is there any way to strip off that fire resistance before we do a fireball? I don't think so. I don't want to be too close. Yeah, let's come interact with Dream Guardian. All right, I think it's Conjure Elemental time is what I think. Winter's Breast Slam and can mete out cold punishment upon foes with its fists. Let's do that, and we'll bring that person in over here. And then he can do Winter's Breath. Okay, I don't want to hit Karlach, though. We can hit 2 people over here, 2 people right there, and one of them is the Emperor. And I can't quite hit Dragon and 2 people. Oh, man, we're so close to hitting 3 people, but we're not there. All right, let's see if we can slow these guys down, then. Oh, we knocked 1 down. That's not bad. And then I kind of don't want my everybody to be grouped up. I have a bad feeling that dragon might have something to say with his fire breath. Okay, Gale, I'm actually kind of comfortable with you just hanging back for now. What do we do? Alyssa. There's so many guys between here and there. So, we could levitate pretty good distance over this way. I think we do that. And then she still gets to run, so I feel like we can do that. And then... Dream Guardian. Mind Sanctuary. Sculpt a magical nexus that allows those within to take actions and bonus actions interchangeably. Well, I mean, sure. Oh, wait, what about the barrage? Can't we do that? So many icons. There it is, Conjure Barrage. So if we did a ranged weapon barrage... No, this is the cone attack. Alright, I mean, that certainly has its use, but it's not right now. Pulls in all nearby enemies and possibly slows them. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see if we can maybe do this. I don't think it'll affect the tentacles, but it might affect the Dream Guardians. Okay, Black Hole did some good work. Dream Guardian went down. Water Elemental was unaffected, which is good because I wasn't looking at him. Dream Guardian got knocked down from the ice. Yeah, we've cleared a little bit of a path at least. And then for bonus actions... Potion of Speed? I don't really want to become lethargic. Wizardbane Oil might be helpful if that dragon does anything. And then the Potion of Universal Resistance, I think, might be really important. I think we're going to pop that Potion of Universal Resistance. No, I don't know. Let's do Hunter's Mark on this guy. Orpheus. Oh, Orpheus has to settle up with Emperor. Like, he super has to. Alright, let's see if we can fireball these guys. And then get on up in here and choke down some of these attacks. Bonus action? Anything? Oh, Flurry of Blows. Yeah, punch this guy. Will can Misty Step once. And I'm thinking that we might want to use it to get up there. So instead, he doesn't have the movement to get there. But maybe he doesn't need it. Like, we just come down here. I do want to cut as a... Not in... Oh, no, the darkness doesn't affect him. That's right. No, he's great in the darkness. And then from here, he'll do... What are your level 5 spells? Hold monster. Wait, can we hold monster on the dragon? 25% is not great. Emperor is 25%, 95% on the tentacle for what that's worth. What other spells do we have? Dimension Door is nice. Banishment would be great, but I don't think that we're going to get... Yeah, 9% on the dragon. That's not going to happen. We could challenge the duel on the dragon. That'd work out great. Anything else? Vampiric Touch. Oh, that's not bad, but also I feel like we could just, like, hit this guy. Oh, so close, but not quite. Let's... Yeah, and I'm not close enough to do that. We can't throw on a bonus action. We can't... We could Misty Step is the only thing left. All right, so then let's challenge to duel, because then she'd have to come face us in the darkness. Sonic suggestion, Hush. Silence a creature for up to 2 turns on Alyssa. I don't think that I care about that very much. And she did save. You can silence Alyssa all you want. She's going to have all of those spell arrows. On Gale, it's a much bigger deal. Let's counterspell. Fleeting Dream. You teleport to an unoccupied space. We're going to let them do that. Attack. On 6 targets. 6 different targets dealing 2 to 5 force damage. I feel like we can survive that. Do not react. Yeah, we can't let Gale get hushed. We lost Hunter's Mark on that. I feel like Karlach goes whole hog on the dominated red dragon. I don't think that she's going to let that go. Topple the big foe. Deal additional damage equal to your proficiency bonus on hit large, huge, or gargantuan creatures to take an additional 2 to 12 slashing damage and must succeed a strength saving throw or fall prone. I don't... Is there any way for me to... I mean, probably not. Wait, where am I? Oh, it's not his turn. Okay. Let's do topple the big guys on him. Do I have any way to make it a little worse for him? Some sort of poison or... Oh, this would be great. Yeah, hold on. What's our very best strength spell? Or potion? Cloud Giant, right? That's the good stuff? To 27. Drink it. Okay, now go knock him on his ass. I have absolutely no idea what, if anything, just happened. Okay, he's immune to prone. That's fine. We still gave him a big wallop. Let's lacerate him. 30 points of damage on that hit. And that's all she's got. Next round, maybe she can take a soul coin. What do we do? Well, we hit this guy, because why not? Well, that's why not. Anything else? Is that the best you've got? We made a puddle. Well, that's super. Maybe we teleport up here and we bother these guys. Next round. Gale. So, this guy's immune to fire, but not a lot else. I would also really like to get some haste out there. How many guys can we do? Oh, no, there's no additional benefits. And also, we're not close enough to make real use out of this. I would really like to get both Will and Gale, if we... Or Will and Karlach, if we could. And if not, then Orpheus. Oh, we can't. No, really? Target is... Oh, because he's in darkness. Well, see, then that really feels like a waste, so we're not going to do it. Fireball is of limited use. It's not no use right now. Shocking Grasp is too far away. Black Tentacles, turning the area into difficult terrain, attacking and smothering creatures within. Well, like something like that, right... Those guys are dead, though. That would not be fun for any of these three guys, so let's do this. Mummy. So we're not going to scare the dragon. We're just not. We could try to attack this tentacle. Well, we've got a 25% chance. We could do it. And then that's his turn. Alyssa, can you levitate your way up here? No. Yeah, no, she can move a good distance, but not quite that far. Breathe a wall of fire onto the battlefield. Targets still take half damage. Caster can only use this feature once in their adventure. Well, when else? Could we get a wall of fire on these guys? I don't know how wall of fire works. How do you define where it goes? I absolutely don't know. What else do we have in here? Summon Iron Hand Golems to damage and debilitate with thrown grenades. Dismissed after combat until resummoned. Can't be resummoned if killed again if killed in combat. So I feel like this, like a group of people show up, right? But how do you do it? I'm not sure what this interface means. It's odd. Let me try one more. Keen's Fixers. Sure. I'm a little worried that this might be that bug like sometimes happens when you're trying to heal, where it just like doesn't come up. I don't need that right now anyway, but we might save and reload to get that. That only affects one guy, though. Stage Fright... Oh, this would be good on those two guys. Unless they both save, in which case we got nothing. And then bonus action... I don't want to do that. Replaces effects from other elixirs. I don't think that we have another elixir on her right now. I don't think we do. So why don't we take the... Oh, I just lost it. Angelic Reprieve, Speed, Cultivation, Viciousness. Yeah, number you need to land a crit is reduced by 1. Let's go for it. Attack, right? Yeah.
Today, you fool.
He's charmed. He cannot attack her anymore. He can challenge her to... Nope, we can't do that. And we can't do that. Okay, so no more attacking her. Maybe this is when we... Nope, can't really do that. And if we... This doesn't say anything about an attack of opportunity, but I'd really rather join Alyssa up here. Oh, we are just shy. We just can't quite get there. So then let's do a ranged attack on this guy. No, we can't do anything once we're charmed. I do not want to drop her weapon. We're going to counterspell. Fleeting Dream. No, we'll let them teleport. Again, we want to stop Gale from getting silenced.
By will or by force, you will join.
Okay, this turn just got real dark. Like, we were doing okay, and then Will went down. Alyssa's lost 75% of her hit points.
Go quickly now. Get to the ground and cast the spell. We will keep the enemy at
We're working on it. So, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out how to do the call allies. This seems ready to go. Yeah, this seems like she can do it. I don't know why What's-His-Face couldn't do it. That dragon, did the dragon leave? Maybe he flew up high into the sky or something, but I don't see him. I'm gonna feel embarrassed if he's right here. I don't see him. If we could get up here, that would be ideal. Potion of Flight is an option. I don't really want to run into the black tentacles with her. We could go try to help up Will. Or go hit the Emperor. I feel like we're losing our opportunity to not kill the Emperor. Oh, the big dragon is right here. Yeah, he's sort of like in an awkward position. Can I get to him somehow? Grow to a fearsome size. Is this because she took her potion? Probably. Okay, well, let's do that then. Okay, we can't get to him, but... Oh, that was our action. Uh-oh. Then I need to throw something. Let's throw this spear at that guy. Okay, as long as we did damage, that's how we maintain our rage. And then we'll sort of try to get in here. I don't know. Gale, for some reason, can't help. Oh, can't reach destination for some reason. Can you do something to Dominated Red Dragon? Probably. Well, hold on. There's two guys right here, though. We used to have a fireball spell. Okay, that guy went down. She's still kicking. Will is done. Unless we want to take a level 3 spell slot, which I do kind of want to do. He's got level 4. He's also got level 3, but... yeah, let's take this right now. And that did nothing for him again. I feel like I'm a little bit confused into how that functions. It's fine. Eliza's taken a lot of damage. We're still trying to get her up in range of this. I don't know at what point we... like, do this. It's too far, so we have to be... oh, within this radius. Okay. But she can fly, so we can get up here. Now, hold on. Do we want to try to do that force tunnel? Because that seems pretty good. Yeah, potentially knocks people down. Let's try it. Let's go here. And then we're going to do force tunnel to here. That's her everything except a bonus action. And for a bonus action, we're going to drink a healing potion because she really got messed up. I probably should have continued moving now that I think about it. It's a little late. I do not care about this tentacle. I do care about getting Will back up. Oh, I should have cared about the tentacle. Let's counterspell that. Carla can take a lot of those magic missiles, but she can't take all of them. Will is dead. Oh my goodness, what do we do? So, apparently she can take a shot on this red dragon, which we'll probably do. I think we have to stop the Emperor at this point. Oh, but we take an attack of opportunity from the dragon. Okay, then let's do some of this. We have to drink a healing potion, so we can't take a soul coin. I need healing for her. I think we definitely call somebody. I guess we're gonna have to figure out who. Silverhawk Squadron. To provide range support from your back ranks. Smite foes. Man, I will take any of these friends, honestly. The watch is okay. So, oh, no, let's get Dame Aelin in here. Yeah, we need your help. I think we're just choosing where to summon, but maybe we are choosing where to strike, and if we wanted to hit somebody, it's going to be this guy.
Your light must shatter this darkness.
Yeah, I hope she's somewhere. Okay, so bonus action? I don't know what we would do. Well, there's a sphere +1 there. Maybe we can throw it. And we're going to maybe move away from everybody. Damn it. Okay, am I Alyssa? That's Alyssa. I don't know how to survive this right now. She is stunned, prone, sleeping, or unconscious. I would love to do those things. I don't feel like I have that opportunity. Okay, here's what we do. Arrow of arcane interference on this guy to silence him and stop him from shooting magic missiles for a bit. Yes. And then ditto over here. Wherever that is, which I just used. Hold on, are we... Where is it? We should have another one of those. %49 is not great. Can we shoot this guy? I don't think that this is going to... Oh, no. Do we have an arrow of dragon slaying, though? We sure do. All right, let's use that. Okay, well, that did something. And then with our bonus action... Well, we might get more arrows, but we absolutely must have healing. And I think that's everything that she's got, except that now we're going to get into range of this thing. And that's it. Unless she can call forth allies, which I don't think she can. Hush on Gale. We must counterspell. No! You guys! He's dominating Dame Aelin. I'm not even 100% sure who's taking all this damage right now. Okay, hold on. We have to break the mind control of Dame Aelin. Where is the Emperor? Oh, no, we cannot have that. Where is he? Crown Nautiloid. No. He's up here somewhere. It's going to take me a second to find him. The Emperor. Yeah, so we have to kill the shit out of him. And fortunately, he's only got 13 hit points. So let's try to shoot him. 20%, huh? That's the best we've got? Gale.
Always be a gentleman.
Anything it takes to put that guy down. Target is too far. Then walk to him. Fuck off. Okay, what do we got? Can we fireball him from where we are? Yes-ish. So do that then.
The Emperor's influence, but not the need for an illithid. Must use the tap.
We're working on it. Okay, so Damelin is no longer dominated. That's good, because that would have been really bad. Do we have anything else for Gale to do? Not unless using a scroll of Revivify is a bonus action, and I don't think scrolls ever are. No. Okay. So I don't think that we've got anything that we can do with him right now. Karlach is nearly dead, but not dead, so as long as she's kicking, we can still pop a potion of supreme healing and attack this dragon. And that's what we've got. So, now, as long as... Oh, shoot. So this is a regular action, so I do think that I can take a healing and then start the spell. Mage Hand. Can you throw this? I really don't know what Mage Hand does for us in life. Do this? Throw? Wait, who am I? Okay, hold on. I'm this guy. Go punch this dragon. Okay, then punch the tentacle. Any amount of punching. Oh, Misty Step. Yes. But not into that. Can we Misty Step up here, maybe? And then come up here and stun this guy. Oh, I get to control Damelin. Okay, do something to the dragon. Surround yourself in a pillar of Solune's light, inflicting moonbeam on nearby foes. It specifies foes. I am not exactly sure where she is, but that seems like a good thing to do. And then, I don't know, hit this guy? Sure. And do we have any bonus actions? Pommel Strike. Okay, now Mage Hand. Do this. Do something with the spear. Oh, there it is. Throw weapon at this guy. Okay, I mean, it was something. Sonic, hush. No, we have to stop that. They might have just gotten Gale hushed. I'm not sure. It is go time, Karlach. Let's end this dragon. God damn, that feels good. And now what? Oh, we hit this guy. Oh, just sever him in half. And is there anything else for her to do? I don't know. Just hang out? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to skip something important. Water elemental. So I would really like to go get these guys. Not enough movement. Not enough movement. Do we have any sort of ranged attack? We do. It's just not very rangy. Yeah. Alright, so then that's what we've got. We can't get closer to those guys. Is he silenced? He is silenced. I don't have an easy way to deal with that, so we're going to hit this guy with a stick. How long are you silenced for? One more turn. All right.
You feel it. A sudden shift. The brain is weakening. Its grasp of itself slipping. This is your chance. Even bound, its will is stronger than anything you've ever felt. Chains shake, threatening to break at any moment.
Its will is weakening.
So we kill it. That's fine. Why are we at disadvantage? Outside normal range. We're 36 meters away. It's further away than it appears to be. So let's levitate a lot closer. 95. Do I have my super shot on? I do. And also Call the Weak, which is... Got it. All right. Wait, does this guy have beams or something? I think it's just hit him. Chains of Karsus. Too powerful for even the momentary god's magic. Karsus' compulsion could not dominate completely. Bound the brain's will in place temporarily. To complete their domination, you must strike it down. Okay, then let's make sure it can't ever get hit points back. Oh no! That's a terrible start. Let's see if we can light it on fire and make it take extra damage over time. Okay, did save, and that is our turn. Unless we can throw this, and we can't, and we don't have a bonus action to heal, which seems very risky right now. And it's what we've got, so we stop there. Well, I don't want to walk in there then. Let's just throw a fireball at them. Unarmed strike. How far can I run? Yeah, not far enough to go in and then get back out. So we're just going to hang out right here. And again, I don't think that I can feed him a healing potion, Orpheus. I don't want him to die. Oh, he's got two of his own. Okay, so we're just going to pop one of his. Daemalin. So we don't want to go in there. Who can we go after? This guy. Frighten an enemy. They'll have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, and they cannot move. Lunar Smite. That seems good as well. Okay, let's fly over here. Okay, who am I getting an attack of opportunity from? That tentacle? The dragon is very large. He's covering up a lot of area. Okay, this is as far as we can move, which is not quite into melee range. Do we have anything else that we can do to hit this guy? Lunar Flare. We've got a slightly better shot here. And enough to hit. Bonus action. Well, what's this? Lay on hands. Oh, if only I'd gone up to Karlach instead. I didn't think of that. That's not a dippable surface. We don't have any more movement speed, and our bonus actions are cooked. Mage Hand. Let's see if we can... Can we just do an unarmed strike, just a regular punch? Not really, and we don't have anything to throw over here. So that's it for Mage Hand. Yeah, no, let's not allow that. Well, I guess we can't control it, but we'll take some damage off. Okay. Should I call in allies out here first? I mean, almost certainly. Okay, let's get those guys there. And then my hope is that she can go in here.
Its will is weakening. The Netherbrain's ours.
Okay, we can't jump down there safely. And she just used her action, so we'll just have to accept that. Gale, if you have any options to join the fight, I recommend that we do that. Provokes attack of opportunity. That's fine. How do we get up there? We get up there via Misty Step or whatever scroll. Amulet of... But we have to equip it. So Scroll of Misty Step would allow us to get all the way up there, and then we should be able to run in. Jump down here. Oh, we did that. And then... Okay. Bro, what's your absolute best spell? Magic Missile? Let's hit it.
I need your help.
Okay, that's everything Gale's got. Alyssa has a new turn, I think. Yes. So, step one, we have to have healing, because we can't have our friends die right now. Supreme healing. We're going to drink that. Okay, and then we got to hit this thing. So, it's getting more powers. I don't think that I can slow that down. Are you resistant to anything? No. I very much like the idea of doing additional damage over time. But I don't see that as being an option. How, though? Of all the times to start missing shots, it'll be fine. Oh no! I didn't know that's what the Orb of Negation does. It's smashing all of the platforms. Oh no, Karlach died. Oh my god. Orpheus, can you go in here and help? Probably, but we have to punch this guy out of our way first. Alyssa does still exist. Oh my god. That was so random. Okay, okay. Gale, can we revivify Karlach, or do we need a body for that? Can I just cast it on this? Choose target to resurrect her. No, that's it. Too high is what it says. I think she fell. Oh, that is awful. And now we have reason to believe that this... I don't know what the range on this is, but we probably don't want him to be here. So let's see if we can... I don't know. Not enough movement is what we've got now. I don't know how many of these platforms that's going to destroy. This is awful. What do we do? Oh my god, what do we do? Do we use another Scroll of Misty Step? Probably. And let's... I don't know, get over here, maybe. And now we're going to... So we need to hit this brain with as high of damage as we possibly can. So it's basically this. Which is not very much. And he gets to do that every single time we hit him, too. Alyssa, I need you to stop missing shots, though, with your 75% shot. What do we do? I don't think we can afford to be vulnerable to damage right now. Nebulous Black Hole doesn't help us. Psionic Overload. Deal an additional 1 to 4 points of damage doesn't feel worth it. Target's armor class is reduced by 5. Hold on, does this thing have an armor class? Yeah, it does. I don't know that that helps us very much. I feel like maybe we just do regular damage. Okay, I really, really need you to land these hits. Any other way to do extra damage to this thing? I think it's just fire. And that's it? Yes? Okay. Orpheus, can you... Oh, god damn it. Wait, I thought that you could, like, slow fall. Use your reaction to gain resistance to falling damage. Okay, how about this? We're going to take a potion of superior healing and then do nothing because we can't. Cool. Okay, well, we definitely leave here now. And we can see here that those are red. So I feel like we know that those are the ones that are going to take damage. So we're going to... jump down here. No longer marked for negation, so that's good. And then... just magic missile? I feel like it's magic missile. We've got it down by 2/3. And that's what we've got for Gale. Alyssa, I don't know why we get to go again. Do I take a potion of speed to get an extra thing here? Yes. That doesn't help us. That doesn't help us. That doesn't help us. Lightning arrow does 4d8 lightning damage. And on save, it still takes half damage. All right, let's... Does that qualify as a full attack? I don't know. I want to take 4 attacks on this guy. And now I'm going to shoot it with an explosive arrow.
Nothing but a vile death rattle.
Spare me. Join me. Wield me. Become absolute.
This is it! You have to command it to die!
Oh, I did not think we were going to survive that. I was really... Okay. No. Destroy the tadpoles and then itself.
I must obey. I must end.
Hopes, nightmares, and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn mythics. The pain rips through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Silence. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts are entirely your own. And then, gravity. Everything you did, everything you sacrificed, it was worth it. For this.
The loss of a mind is a terrible thing, but this time, I think I'll make an exception.
My powers, they're draining. Just like Mazora said they would. A small price to pay in the grand scheme of things. The city will cheer us, but it is the triumph itself, the very smiting of evil, that should lift our hearts. My mind is clear. Its burden lifted. When the Netherbrain died, the tadpoles died with it. No offense meant, of course. I can never forget your sacrifice for us. For the city.
No, I did what was necessary. In every sense.
I will ensure that all Githyanki know your name and your sacrifice. What you have done today will start a fire that rages across the astral plane. With their lost prince returned, my people will burn away Vlaakith's corruption. And it is all thanks to you, the Illithid who defied a Netherbrain.
The best Illithid in all the land. I'd rather be remembered for who I was before. Remember my friends when you remember me. Let it be known to all your people, not all mind flayers are alike. I wish I'd made you do it. Well, it's a little late for that. I think she'd rather be remembered for who she was before. I mean, this is very far. This has cost her everything. Every part of who she was, everything that she was fighting for. Don't get me wrong, I mean, Alyssa wanted to save other people, but she also wanted to go back to her life, and now that's never going to be possible for her. So I think she'd rather be remembered for who she was before.
As you wish, my savior. My people are leaving, and I must leave with them. Kulas! Farewell, Gestil, my liberator.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city, smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. You are a mind flayer, the very thing you sought to eradicate. Whatever self you possess is quickly ebbing away. Your friends and enemies alike are ripe for manipulation. And if not manipulation, then consumption. Soon you will not be able to trust yourself at all. You will be a monstrosity beyond redemption, or not. Perhaps you are unique among illithid kind. Perhaps you will retain enough of who you are to resist your nature. A rogue mind flayer. Like the Emperor, the risk is certainly yours to take. Will you?
Oh, people are really gonna dislike this. But I have to say that over the course of 49 episodes, I have generated a very clear idea of who Alyssa the Ranger it is. The risk to others is too great. Take your own life.
Don't do this! Your life!
The blade feels cool as it pierces your flesh. There is no pain, only the need to sleep. Sleep. Sleep.
I'm hot. Too hot. I think this is it. The engine's finally cocked. I'm not ready. We did it. I did it. The city's gonna be all right. My friends are going to be all right. I can let go. I'm slipping. I can't hang on. What's happening? Goodbye, sun. Goodbye, sea.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no illithid empire, no death god's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are are the saviors of Baldur's Gate.
Thou flickerest in the dark, but with mine keen eye I hath scried thee. I told thee once that an illithid hath no soul, and yet thou seemest to have something of the spirit about thee. I cannot account for it. How delightful. Tell me, how doth it feel to roam about as thou art now? Transformed.
I still feel like myself. My memories, my feelings are all intact.
No matter how many eons I have roamed this world and beyond, I am ever surprised by mysteries new and old. I cannot account for thee, adventurer, hero, friend. But I know your story endeth not here. Death itself hath many byways, and thou might yet have a new and different role to play.
Oh my god. It's so much. So I want to start by hopefully without disrupting this, taking the music down some. It's not loud now, but it'll get there, I'm sure. Pause for just 1 second. I really hope that this doesn't interfere with it, but we're just going to take this down. Probably a good deal, really. Okay, hopefully we didn't miss too much. Top of mind, I never want to lose. I never want to, like, throw in the towel and give up, but, like, especially when it's the final battle, I feel like it would lose so much momentum, like, so much excitement if you have to, like, redo it. So, I'm like, when that nether orb went off, what was it, the orb of negation, and just Karlach was dead, and I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, oh my god, like, how are we going to survive this? I don't know if I have enough damage that I can put into that brain, and please let me know if it's too loud. I don't know if I can do, because Alyssa's suddenly, like, getting the yips. Suddenly she can't, like, land hits on this giant brain, and I'm like, we're not going to be able to do enough damage. The platforms are going to disappear. I can't call in more reinforcements. I clearly did not make enough use of the reinforcements. I just didn't. I don't know. It wasn't a matter of pride. If I had that fight to do over again, I would have called in every single reinforcement. I would have had them on the field. There's no reason not to. I wasn't saving them. I was just like, well, okay, so this character I can move here and do this damage, and that character, I just wasn't thinking about the action economy of it. But then the other thing that we have to talk about is that last decision, because I don't want people to think that that was flippant or funny, or that, like, in my head, Alyssa was somebody who was at all times fighting for the good of the land, fighting for the good of the people, and ultimately fighting to go back to her life. We never get to see this character before she wakes up on the Illithid ship, but she doesn't ever reference friends or family or like other people that she was close to. She's a ranger. In my head, she's always existed a little bit apart from society. It's established over the course of the game that she's a Balduran, like she is from Baldur's Gate, but clearly decided to separate herself from that life and go do something else. And it just very much became a part of my understanding of this character that she was doing what needed to be done because it was the right thing to do, and also because at the end of it, she wanted to go back to what she was doing. She wanted to go back to the life that she had built for herself, and that was no longer going to be possible. She would never be able to exist in society and to do the things that she had wanted to do in the way that she had. And I have to say that, like, I was like, well, I guess this is just gonna be how it is. And then when it hit that epilogue moment where it's like, you can already feel yourself slipping away, that she wasn't even gonna have her personality, her memories, her morality, that even that was going to be taken away from her. At that point, there was only one option on that menu that was left. To her, she was already dead. There wasn't this hope that maybe somehow she was going to be another emperor, who, by the way, also wound up turning on us at the end. And I get it, like, I never wanted to come to blows with that guy. I feel like ultimately it was a little bit of a Professor X and Magneto sort of situation where we don't hate each other, but we just have completely irreconcilable views of how this needs to move forward. And that's where she was with the Emperor. We had to free Orpheus. That was a moral imperative. And, like, I know that's, like, a really weird thing to get, like, so keyed in on, but it's wrong. It's wrong what happened to the Githyanki. It's wrong that the crown was taken, the leadership was taken by Vlaakith, and now she's immortal. She just gets to do that forever, and no one will ever challenge it. And we come up with the information that she's not the rightful ruler, that the rightful ruler is still alive, still available. Like, from a relatively early point in the playthrough, that felt really important. And among other things, it felt like something... Here's the thing. We're trying to stop bad things from happening to Baldur's Gate and the people of Baldur's Gate. Something bad has already happened to the Githyanki, and no matter what happens to Baldur's Gate, we have the opportunity to set right what went wrong with the Githyanki. And we know Lae'zel, who helped us out when, frankly, she had very little reason to do so. So it just almost became, it wasn't ever the primary goal, but it was not acceptable ever for us to not save Orpheus, to the point where I tried to do it a little bit too early, and it turned out that was just never going to happen because we couldn't befriend the Githyanki at that point. But I'm glad that we found our way there, and that was great. That's why we had to part ways with the Emperor. He felt very, very strongly that the power of Orpheus was his, and that he had the right to use it in any way that he wanted. And meanwhile, this sentient person was trapped in this infinite prison from which they could never escape. And it reminded me of Nightsong. I had the same reaction to Dame Aelin. What happened with Shadowheart? We could not allow that person to remain in this endless, infinite torture. It was not acceptable what was happening to Nightsong. It was not acceptable what was happening to Orpheus. And in the end, it was not acceptable what had happened to Alyssa. And when she could do something about those things, she did it. And over the course of the adventure, there were terrible consequences for everybody along, and this was a very downbeat ending. And yet it is fitting for the adventure that we had, where this adventure cost so many people so much, and it wasn't just Alyssa. It was Shadowheart. It was Lae'zel. It was... Will has those horns, and he seems pretty chipper about the whole thing, but he lost his father. Karlach lost her life. Nobody really came out of this very good. I will say, Minsk, Jaheira, and presumably Gale. Oh, that's another thing. Maybe it's because of how it ended, but there was no choice there at the end to return the crown to Mystra, which I assume is what happened. That was always the plan, and the only person left to really execute on that is Gale. And I do feel like Gale learned something. I think I'd like to believe that based on some of his dialogue there at the end, he understood the consequences of his actions. He was willing to take those consequences entirely upon himself, and the thing was, it was simply too late, because Orpheus was not willing to consider any version of the plan where there wasn't somebody who was able to control the Netherbrain. Somebody had to do it. And at that point, who's it going to be? There's only two options as far as I'm concerned. Again, maybe if we had switched to Will and had that conversation, we could have made him do it. But does anybody think that that dude would have? He's too willing to change on a dime, to absolutely pivot like way too quickly, where it doesn't seem like he's really thought things through. And actually, I kind of accidentally played into that from an early point when he cut a deal with the hag to get that extra point of charisma. Remember way back when, if it had been an Alyssa choice, she never would have taken it and she would have killed the hag because she's a ranger. She stops threats and bad things that are harming civilized peoples from the wilderness. But she wasn't there to make that choice. That was a Will choice. And I sort of thought about, like, I think Will is willing to compromise his morality in order to get what he wants or what he thinks he needs because he believes that he can twist it for the greater good. And what happened with that? The hag wound up victimizing a bunch more people in Baldur's Gate because that's what happens when you compromise your morality. A lesson that I am not convinced at the end of the story Will has learned. I do think that Gale learned, and I'm going to choose to believe, unless we get a post-credit sequence, that he did return the crown to Mystra, and he was able to demonstrate that he had learned from his mistakes and grown and become a better person, and fingers crossed she was then able to remove the Nether Orb, which is her end of the bargain. And maybe then he went off and had a good life someplace. Astarion is another person who, like Will, was simply too impulsive, too given over towards, like, the dark side of life. And I don't know. I don't know where I went wrong with him. I don't know if I fed him too many brain worms and that affected things. I don't know if I failed to hang out with him or to get his approval enough, but he and I just never saw eye to eye. Alyssa and Astarion, Alyssa and Shadowheart, they were friends of convenience. They hung out with one another because they had a shared goal, and other than that, really had nothing ever in common. And Shadowheart was, I think, interested in a closer friendship right up until she didn't get what she wanted. And in fairness, it was something really important to her and something that Alyssa had explicitly promised to her over and over again. But when faced with this battered, broken, bruised, filthy woman who had been chained in this nether realm for who knows how long, hundreds of years at the minimum, and here's Shadowheart being like, oh, I'm gonna kill the shit out of her. Yeah, I'm gonna really impress my god and get to become a Dark Justiciar. I'm gonna share with you, from a gameplay perspective, I 100% wanted to do it. Purely from I want to see what happens from Shadowheart. Like, does she unlock, is this a prestige class for her? Does she unlock new abilities? I want to keep my party members and I want to see their stories go forward. From a gameplay perspective, that was a tough one because I really, really wanted to see what would happen. And again, similar to this decision at the end, I have, over the course of the adventure, sort of woven out of nothing this idea of who this character is and what she's like. And some of that is born from my own sense of morality, and a lot of it is born from the situations that she's been in, what she's seen, what she's done, what kind of dialogue options have been available, and more importantly, which ones she has chosen. And that has led me to believe that, no, she wouldn't allow Shadowheart to kill this woman. Here's the thing that was frustrating to me. If that costs a Shadowheart's friendship, okay. If that costs a Shadowheart's partnership, where she's not going to work with the group anymore, okay. But the fact that it had to come to blows, that the video game developers cannot account for every possible outcome. They just can't. So I don't say this with any real disappointment to say, man, it would have been nice if there was an opportunity to, or rather a reaction to the fact that we knocked Shadowheart out, we technically knocked her unconscious, and then it gave you an additional cutscene of saying, all right, I'm not strong enough to beat you, and you took away my opportunity to be a Dark Justiciar, so y'all go fuck yourselves, and I'm gonna go, I don't know, do something else. I don't know what else Shadowheart would possibly do with her life, because now she's wanted. What we found out a lot later is that she's wanted by Viconia or whatever her name is. That woman absolutely wanted to kill Shadowheart, and we only barely talked her out of it. The letting her choose was the option, and so many other times in the game, I would choose to stay silent. I would step back and watch what happened, because among other things, one of the mini games that was happening in my head is, what if this was Dungeons and Dragons? What if this was actual D&D? What would you do? And sometimes there's a scene playing out between two other players that has nothing to do with you. So rather than trying to inject yourself into it, it's okay to just sit back and watch what happens. You don't need to be engaged in every single conversation that everybody has. Other players get to have fun too. And I know that they're not players, they're characters in the game, but also it's cool to see what they're going to do absent my influence. The Shadowheart situation, that didn't happen, because the only thing she had ever talked about was, I want to be a Dark Justiciar. There was no second guessing to her. It seemed to be absolutely the most important thing in her whole life. The thing that everything in her life, since she was attacked by a wolf or something, this was her lifelong dream. And I firmly believed at the time that if I left it up to her, she was going to go ahead and stab that woman. And as much as it is important to her to be a Dark Justiciar, it was important to Alyssa not to torture this person, because Dame Aylin had been through enough. I am glad that we got to call in Dame Aylin at the end. I am ashamed that we didn't call her in earlier. I wanted her, I wanted the goblins, I wanted the vampire hunter people, I wanted everybody in there, and we didn't even get to see them. God, I never made use of any of those allies. Oh, that's going to be a real regret. I want you guys to know I should have both narratively and strategically made use of every single one of those ally powers, and I just didn't. I don't have an explanation for it. I brought Gale because I wanted to have a spellcaster who could do area effect spells, and it narratively made sense because in my head, he was going to get the crown and bring it back to Mystra. So that's why I wanted to have him. I wanted Will because Will wanted vengeance on the Netherbrain for what had happened to his father, and he also had the brain parasite and had been through a lot and it felt appropriate. And I wanted Karlach because this was her last hurrah. This was it, and she knew it. And I want to talk about that as well, because that was the hardest part. If anybody wanted to know how committed I was to what I said in the very first episode, where we're going to let what happens happen. Now, there were plenty of times when I failed a stealth sequence and I reloaded. There was a prison break where we were trying to break the deep gnomes out of the shadow prison or whatever it was called. And I reloaded several times because I wasn't sure what the mechanics of it were. I wasn't sure what I was trying to do relative to where the risk was. There were absolutely things that I reloaded. But if you wanted to know my commitment to when I said, when we make a story choice, that's going to be the story choice, and we're going to go forward from there. What happened in Last Light Inn was not a story choice. It was not a story choice. It was a critical hit that the enemy got on Isabel that we were trying to protect, and she just went down in one round. There was, within the scope of that combat, very literally nothing that we could have done. Now, if you reload and you do it again, as we found, we could absolutely get around that and not have that happen. But that led to, what am I going to do? Am I going to reload that? And I talked a lot about this, but the reason that decision has come up so as often as it has is because that was really, really, really hard. I have rarely been so tempted to reload out of any situation in a game. The only time that even comes close is actually from a Telltale game. This is years ago and not particularly pertinent here, but that time I spent an entire week saying, man, I don't know. I want to reload. I want to do that choice again. And ultimately, I made the same decision then that I did here, which is that this is the game mechanics working as intended. And sometimes in real-world Dungeons & Dragons, the DM just rolls a critical hit on the party, and they all die, and it just happens. And you can choose as a group of people to say, okay, that's a little bit much. Let's find something that honors maybe that spirit, but isn't quite as devastating. Here it was like, well, hold on. They recorded all of these voice lines, all of these cutscenes, all of these events that now are going to flow forward from that, including, I think, very memorably, after Gortash goes down, Karlach realizes that this hasn't made anything better. She got the vengeance that she wanted, and she's still going to die. There's nothing else for her except maybe this one last hurrah. It would have been completely immoral of Alyssa to leave her behind when they were going to go fight the Netherbrain, but that entire sequence there, like, big shout out to Samantha Bayart, or however it is that you pronounce her name. That was really wrenching, that scene where she's like, I'm going to die, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, she's getting, like, hotter and hotter and hotter, like, physically. That hit really hard, and it's a moment that we wouldn't have had if I had had the luxury of doing the quest and doing the storyline. And I'll say that I held out hope for a long time that we would get to Baldur's Gate and be able to make contact with somebody and they'd be like, oh, holy hell, boy, you're really in a bad way. But I do think that maybe with a little bit of extra spit and grease and polish, we can help you out. No, it just didn't happen. I really wanted to do the underwater base, and I was so thoroughly convinced that if we killed Gortash, then without Gortash to push the kill everybody button, then we could have gone down and done the base. And it was the opposite of that. I needed to go down there despite his warnings. And it is easy for me to believe that somebody might look at that and say, well, the game lied to me. Like, the game directly said, if you go down there, all the Gondians are going to die. But did it? Because in my head, Gortash lied to me. Gortash is the one who said, I'm going to kill everybody. And am I really going to be mad at the bad guy of the story who lied to me in order to get what he wanted? That's kind of what he's supposed to do, isn't it? So for me, I take that in stride, and also will continue to feel bad that I didn't get to do the underwater base. I was so surprised to learn that Astarion was a vampire. That's like Astarion 102. It's like the second thing that you learn about him. I had absolutely no idea. When we saw in one of those early episodes him sneaking out of camp, I had no idea. Absolutely none. And then when we found him, I will say this, Alyssa has, in my head, a very, very strong sense of self-governorship. And part of that involves dominion over her own body. And I said at the time that I thought that Astarion was going to bite Alyssa. And she told him, you better cut that right the fuck out. And I even said at the time, if he had asked to be fed, she would have helped him out. But for him to start trying to feed on her when she was asleep, that was wildly unacceptable. And then it's later implied that he actually did feed on her. And I said at the time, if I had known that, like if I understood that to be true, he would have gotten kicked out of the party right then and there. And I'm like, to this moment, I will tell you that that's true. If my understanding at that time was that he had actually bitten her and was feeding off of her, his ass would have gotten kicked out of the party in episode 4. And I'm completely serious about that, because that feels like that's part of who she is to me. At the same time, had I been playing a different character, one that was more prone to intellectual curiosity and a much more flexible sense of morality, then it wouldn't have been a big deal at all. That just sort of goes to how I start to fill out these characters, where Alyssa doesn't have a lot of spoken dialogue, and in fact, there's a couple of points in the game where she does speak up, and it's almost weird to hear her talk, because what you get from her is just in the text, and the text that you are presented with and the ones that you choose go on to fill in so much of her personality that I'm like, oh, this is a person with a very strong moral compass. And among them are to remove somebody's freedom of choice, freedom of will, their ability to self-exercise and to pursue their own freedom, not to the detriment of anybody else, but just to pursue what makes them happy. That is absolutely unlivable, and is what happened to so many characters in the story. Remember Nere, N-E-R-E? Wasn't that the name of the dark elf guy, the drow that got buried in the poison chamber, and we were gonna go let him out? I wanted to let him out for story reasons, I wanted to let him out for quest reasons, and I wanted to let him out so that we could get a sense of who this guy was. And when he came out and his first action was to like murder a deep gnome, oh, we absolutely murdered the shit out of him. But that's the thing. He was given the opportunity to choose what kind of a person he wanted to be. And it turned out that after narrowly escaping with his life, his very first action was to murder one of the people directly responsible for getting him out. Fuck that guy, and I have no regrets about that. We had 5 rolls to save Lae'zel's life, and I rolled 10s 5 times in a row. 10, 10, 10, 13, 10. Those were the rolls. Lae'zel was just gonna die. She just was, and you can't say that we had any additional options on what to do there, except maybe to not kill Sarevok, but also, I think Sarevok is officially the second hardest fight in the game, second only to that Netherbrain, because I really thought that we were going to lose that. Marquak had asked at one point, so what is it about Baldur's Gate 3? Is it that this game does something that no other game has ever done, or is it that it takes things that other games have done and it does them better than other games have? And I still feel that it's really that second thing, and here's an example of that, and where I became very attached to the idea of the agency of the other characters. If you guys remember, it wasn't like the first 5 episodes, but it was whenever we finally met Karlach, which took way longer than I thought. All I knew at that time is that we'd picked up a party member named Will, and Will was supposed to go kill a demon named Karlach, and I'm like, well, according to Will, she's like a lieutenant of hell or whatever, and she's leading Zariel's forces or whatever. Sounds good to me. Let's go kill that person. So we went to go where she... Oh, and look, there she is. Oh, she's right down there. So here's what I'm going to do. Alyssa's going to get up on this high precipice. So she's going to have this like super dominant height advantage on this fight. And then Will is going to go down and actually initiate the combat. And instead, what happens is Will goes down and he starts talking to Karlach. And here's the first point in the game that will stick with me, something like really impressed me. I didn't have any choices in that whole interaction. None. Will walks up. He starts interacting with Karlach. Alyssa is physically not present because she's 800 yards that way up on like a cliffside, ready to rain down arrows on this whole situation because after all, we're killing a demon. And Will decides completely of his own accord that he's going to spare Karlach's life and that this is not right and that he will not fulfill this part of his contract. And I loved it. It made it feel like Will was a full and complete character. I was so impressed by the fact that because the main character wasn't there, that they had like this canonical interaction for how this was going to go, and that it wasn't Alyssa that decided, it wasn't me that decided to spare Karlach, it was Will. And that taught me something about Will's personality, about that Will does have a compass that orients towards good, even if he knows that he's going to pay a personal price for it. And that's a thing about Will, I think, in general, that he almost seems to have this martyr complex to him, where he takes on all of this suffering in order to do good, even if the suffering and the good aren't really commensurate with one another. I'll also say, oh my God, I loved the fact that we could make the deal with Raphael and then break into his house and tear up the contract and end it. I was so happy because I want you guys to know, again, not knowing that that was an option on the table, when Alyssa made that deal he would give her the hammer, she would give him the crown, and if she didn't, then she would sacrifice her immortal soul to him. I made that decision believing that if I signed that contract, it was inviolate, that we couldn't get out of it. Over the course of the next few days, I will think of 100 million things that I didn't talk about during this section. So I don't want to rush through, but also it's very late and I feel like I've said most of what I wanted to. I don't think it'll come as anybody's surprise that I really, really love this game. It's so weird that I don't think there was any episode where we didn't make significant progress, and yet so often the progress would feel backwards or this real negative outcome to things. But one of the things that helped out a great deal was interacting with people in chat, people like Cozy Plays, people like, I'm trying to think of like other examples, who would start playing and then would restart or want to restart. I think Glomdy is another example where they play the game, they get to a certain point, and then they like, oh, I did it wrong. I didn't get the outcomes that I wanted. I missed something. And then they want to restart. One of the amazing things about streaming is that it does help to keep you on the straight and narrow because you want to continue going forward. And of course you can restart. There's any number of cool ways to stream. But for me, at least, it's like, well, I'm going to commit to this. And the way in which I chose to play this game, I wanted to have as raw and genuine of an experience as possible, and that means the good and the bad. And again, there were plenty of opportunities when I did reload, especially if I died or lost a fight, because game over is no fun for anybody, or at least not for me. But on the other hand, like, oh man, this didn't come out the way that I expected. Well, shit. I did the best I could. I made the very best choices that I could. And some of that is just, I feel like that's legitimately the most interesting way for me to play. And I also want to say, if other people want to reload until they, like, every single hit in the game is 20, that's cool. I mean, by all means, go ahead, mod the game. People should be allowed to play on any difficulty in any way that they see fit. I really strongly feel that. For me, it was, I wanted both for me and the audience to feel like these decisions are going to carry narrative weight. That if I don't like the outcome, that sucks because it is what happened and it's going to go forward. I feel like that's just a more interesting way for me to play because it really makes you think about, what am I going to do here? What is my choice? I'm going to tell you that thing about becoming an Illithid, that was rough. That was probably in the top 4 toughest choices in the entire game because for Alyssa's sake, you have to understand, here's a character that wouldn't even mind read. I think she did it on like 3 occasions. She did it to Will's father to see if there was somebody in there. She did it to Gortash's parents, and she did it to Minsk. And all 3 times it felt like it was the one and only opportunity to get information from somebody who was desperate to share it, and there was no other way to get it. She didn't even want to use detect thoughts because that felt terribly invasive to her, and she wouldn't want other people reading her thoughts, so she didn't want to do it to other people. That's just sort of in my head the kind of person that she was. So a lot of that comes from, well, I'm not going to choose to be an Illithid and then reload if I don't like it. Oh, and by the way, I want to share from a gameplay perspective, fucking awesome. Like, that was so cool. She could have turned into a displacer beast. I didn't particularly see an opportunity to do that in that fight, but apparently that's just something you get to do if you go all Illithid mode. I think that it was really interesting the way that they implemented this option to be an Illithid, another thing that I had no idea about the game coming into it. So that was great. I really, really like that. I like getting to experience that, and also from a narrative perspective, would have taken almost any other outcome. I'm going to tell you right now that if, hypothetically, what if Karlach could have done it? And what if Karlach could have done it and it would have solved her engine problem? Because during Ceramorphosis, she would have like expelled the engine because the Illithid would have had a new heart. That would have been worthy of consideration. But according to Orpheus, the only options on the table were Alyssa or Orpheus. And it couldn't be Orpheus. That's where that came from. And even then, man, that was hard. That was really, really hard because I felt like it was such a violation of everything that Alyssa stood for herself and for others. So no, the story meant a lot to me, and that's where that came from. I think that Karlach is very much leaning into the chaotic good, especially with the violence. And oh my god, Karlach had that one voice line that always seemed to come up at exactly the right time when you would select Karlach and she'd just go like this. She'd just go like, fuck yeah. I loved it every time because I feel like that was the clue that she was about to land a crit. It was so reliable. Karlach never missed. I want to say that just from like which character did I most look forward to having in the party and to like doing something in combat with, I think Karlach is second only to Alyssa. Alyssa turned out to be exactly the character that I was hoping to play. She was a ranger. She had a high survival skill. Her animal companion was awesome. I want to acknowledge there were many other animals that Alyssa could have chosen, and I got very attached to Corvus and Citizen Snips. And even in situations where it would have been maybe more mechanically beneficial to summon up a bear or a wolf, Citizen Snips and Corvus, and those were her friends, because those were her friends. That wasn't a mechanical decision. That was, she likes those guys, and I felt very attached to them. So yeah, Alyssa, it's weird how clear of a character that she is in my head, despite the fact that she's a borderline silent protagonist. But through her actions, through her dialogue choices, and through her career path, that's who she was. I feel like Gale is bordering on true neutral, like neutral, or maybe neutral good. I think at the end he winds up a little neutral good, but I think that when you meet him, he is neutral down the line. I think that dude is very willing to bend the rules and to maybe a little bit of chaotic neutral, but that's where we get into, like, Shadowheart is very lawful evil to me, because she's very dedicated to this code of conduct for a dark god who is doing awful things to her, awful things to others. In my opinion, clearly manipulated Shadowheart into joining the religion, joining the following or whatever. Shadowheart was at most points like full into it. So the Shadowheart that I knew was very lawful evil. I think Astarion was very chaotic neutral. I think that if you were to play a chaotic neutral, which is that alignment that has the worst reputation among RPGers, that I think that that's how you would play it correctly, where he does have a code. It's something that makes sense to him. It's one that is, he doesn't actively seek to hurt others, but he also has absolutely no compunction about doing so if it gets him something that he believes that he needs. Whereas Will is a little bit more towards neutral or chaotic good. Again, I think that he is but he's more willing to, like, sacrifice of himself, and that's the difference. Astarion is willing to sacrifice of others. Astarion is all about, like, oh, you didn't need that limb, did you? Because me removing your arm is really going to help me not be inconvenienced right now. He doesn't do it for no reason, but he does it for his reasons. And I think that that's how I think about Astarion. And then you'll have, like, Jaheira, who I think is canonically true neutral, but probably a little bit more good on this side. And Halsin, who I think is very, very much neutral good. Like, that is your neutral good buddy. He is somebody who is very much into the balance of law versus chaos, but is very much dedicated towards doing good, and has dedicated his entire life towards doing that, towards trying to fix the Shadow Realm, for example. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. And Platform Platypuses and cult members like Shadowheart are definitely skew lawful evil. And what's cool is that I think that my perception of those characters is based on the version that I played, and that it can absolutely be adjusted based on choices that you make and choices that they make and how things work out. I believe, based on things that people have shared, that there is a version of the story where Astarion doesn't become the vampire god and chooses not to do that. I don't know how you get there, because I swear to God, unlike Shadowheart, who I promise could become a Dark Justiciar, Astarion, I only ever told him that I wasn't going to allow him to do this. I only ever pushed back on him. And he was like, ha ha ha, but no, really, we're going to do it, right? Like, no, we super aren't. And then when we got there, he's like, what, really? I'm like, yeah, bro, I told you multiple times, this isn't happening. And he got all pissed off. I hope you die screaming. Well, I did die, so he got half of what he wanted. Oh, that was rough at the end. Here is things that I knew coming in, and it's not a long list. I knew that it had something to do with the lithids, because that was, you just couldn't get away from the early access without knowing something about that, and I never played the early access. I knew it was very heavily centered on the lithids. I had asked if Ranger would be a cool character class to play, because often that's like the character class that feels like not particularly tuned very well in various versions of D&D. And I think it was Harmonious Crow that said yes, it was. And I knew that Minsk was in the game because I'd accidentally seen a picture, like heard somebody say that. And I knew that Minsk was voiced by Matt Mercer, who, no surprise, just absolutely nailed it.
There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, yet thou hast proven thyself fools, everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel. Felled by mortals, I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.
That was a long outro for a long game, and we will call it here with the final note that I want to send a special thank you to anybody who has watched this in the VODs. It is safe to say that there has never been a project on the channel that approaches what we've tried to do with the edited VODs for Baldur's Gate 3. We always wanted to try to show games as genuine to what they are as possible, and also with Baldur's Gate 3, the game is so good, and the combat is so engaging, and the storyline is so interesting and so sprawling, there's so much to it. It is simply spread out by so much walking and looting and merchandising as you're selling things and, you know, getting things out of the crib, that for people that have watched the edited version of this, they will have seen a very, very long playthrough, at least 40% shorter than what was actually streamed. And even then, we've kept pretty much all of the dialogue. We've kept any of the journal entries or the reading materials that seemed in any way pertinent to the story. We kept anything and everything that seemed like it was core to the narrative experience and did our best to only cut out the, now there's 15 boxes with rags in them that I'm going to methodically clean out so that I can sell them for 1 gold apiece and afford 35 arrows that I need in order to make this archer build work. So for anybody now or in the future that checks out those edited VODs, for better or worse, that is how it came out. So I really appreciate your guys' time, attention, patience, and coming with us on this fantastic journey. The first episode of Baldur's Gate 3 was November 2024, and we're going to wrap it up here on July 13th, 2025. It's a hell of a playthrough. That's it. This was great. Thank you guys very much. Thank you again to Marquack for the cheer. Thank you to Platform Platypus for the Gigantomote. And thank you all for joining me for this very, very late episode of Baldur's Gate 3. We'll call it here and see you guys again for many, many more amazing streams to come. And until next time, I hope you have a great night.